So hello everyone, my name is Ramon Patel, and now let's today solve one more React interview question. So this is the one of the most famous and frequently asked interview question, which is about the nested checkbox. So now first see what is a nested checkbox. So the thing here is that let's say if I click on the food, then all of its like children and its sub children are also getting checked basically. So this is the one feature of the nested checkbox, and the other features we can say, let's say if I check on the fruits, then you can see like all of its children are getting checked, but the food is also getting partially checked, not completely checked but partially checked, because its children are getting checked basically. So like if I click on the check the vegetables as well, then the whole food got in checked. So this is the feature of the nested checkbox. So today we are going to build it. So before building it, first let's see the concept behind building this checkbox on the pen and paper. Okay, so now let's see the steps for solving nested checkbox or nested comments problem. So both of the problems are quite similar, as you can see, like in nested comments we are doing like commenting under a parent comment and then commenting under its comment. So like recursively we are just commenting and also commenting at the same level. So like a nested checkbox and nested comments problem, both of these problems are quite similar in their approach basically. So the first thing that we need to do to solve this problem is the tree structure. So the structure of the tree, like if we have the data, then what we can do it, if we just structure in a way which is like a tree. So what does a tree have? Tree have a lot of children. So if we just structure our data in that format, then it will be very easy for us to keep track of our children of a parent basically. So the first thing that we need to do is like structure our data in a children, and so in a tree like format, so that we can add the children there. And the second step is to like use the recursion. Basically whatever, like let's say we are making an UI component for the checkbox, then we will need to call the same component inside itself basically to render the its children as well. Similarly for the comment as well. Now the last step is the DFS. We need DFS to like update the tree. Let's say if we have just checked on the parent, then we need to like do the DFS to check all of its sub children. So yeah, for that we need DFS. So these are the three major steps for solving the nested checkbox and nested comments problem. So now let's look at the implementation part. So implementation is not going to be that difficult. You will just sail through it if you just got these three things right. So yeah, now let's go. Okay, so now let's look at the implementation part. So first thing that we need to look at is the data. So this is the data that we are like going to display first. So this is the checkboxes data. Inside this data, like we have one array, and inside that array we are having multiple objects. So this is one object, this is second object, and this is the third object that we are going to display here. So inside this object we are having ID, name, like name of the component or the label that we are going to display there. And this is and it again having the children property. So inside the children we are again having an array of basically objects. So this is the one object, this is the second object, and we again have that same property like ID, name, and children. It has again its children. But now at this level you can see we have ID, we have name, but we don't have the children property here. So from like the first principle that we saw, that we should first structure our data so that each and every node should have the children property at least, so that it is easy for us to determine that, like whether it is having some children or not, or what are its children basically. So for that we need to attach the children here as well. And okay, that's good, but one more thing that we need to keep track, which is like whether, like let's say if I checked on the food, how will I keep track of that, whether it is checked or not? So one thing I need to do is that we also need to attach one variable here, which is the boolean variable, which is like keeping track of whether this variable is checked or not. So we will be also attaching like checked property. So it is something like let's say checked false. So we need to like attach this property to first to each and every object that we are seeing. So like we can see that this is the raw data, but we need to just structure our data a little bit so that it will be easier for us to solve this problem. Okay, so now let's structure our data and just start just start with the implementation. So for that, first I need to make a state variable. For this making state variable, I just need to import the use state first from React. Okay. So now I can see like I need to make a variable in which I will be storing all the structured data. So let's make a variable data, set data, use state, and we need to like structure our data, put the structured data as a initializing thing here. So first we need to do is like what we need to do is that we need to structure our data. So for that we can make a function where we will be attaching the children property to each and every like object, and also the checked boolean variable here. So now we need to just structure our data. So for that, what we can do, we can just make a function, uh, structured data, and yeah, it will be returning an array again. So what we can do, like we can okay, so here we can say like let's do it something like that. Structure data, and inside this data I will be passing over this checkboxes data. So copy it and paste it. Okay, so we will be having this like let's say we will be having this data property here. Okay, so what we can do, we need to return that array. So we will be like mapping over that array again, data dot map, and let's name it node, and we need to return that object. So what we can do, we can just spread the things, like whatever the inside that object, whatever like property we are already having, we will be just spreading it first, and then attaching our checked variable, which is initially false, and also like having the children property there. So let's say if our node already has had the children, if our node already had the children, then we can do we can recursively call this function, so that the checked variable and this function, these children get attached again to its child basically. So what I am trying to say is that, let's say let's say we go to here, and we are having id, name, and children. So id, name, children, these things will be spreaded. But when like we will be calling this node dot children, node dot children again, then we need to again call that structured data, so that in this field we are attaching the like checked property as well as the children property here as well. So that's what I mean to say. So what we can do, we can recursively call it again, structured data, and inside this structured data we can pass that node dot whatever the children that we are, node dot children. And let's say if some some property doesn't have that node dot children, when then we can just inside that the children array we can just give it a give it null. So yeah, uh, that's it. Okay, and now let's look at how our data looks now. So for that, what we can do, we can just print that data here. JSON dot stringify, JSON dot stringify, and inside this we will be putting our data basically. So okay, now from here you can see we have ID, name, and food, and then children. Inside its children we are having ID, name, and then fruits and children again. So that's good. But now here you can see like ID. Now let's look at the real data. So ID 3, name is apple, and checked is false. So here we earlier we do not have that checked property here, but now we are having that checked key here, and also the children. Like here we are having not doesn't have that children key here, but now we are having that children key here, and attached null to that initially, because it doesn't have any children. So this is how we have structured our data. So first step is completed, which is basically structuring our data just like a tree. So this is the most usual step. So yeah, now let's move on to our second step, which is like using recursion, basically calling a component inside it basically. So now let's look at it. we can just leave it here as well. We can do one thing, like we can map over this data now, data dot map, and again calling it as node. And inside that node, we will be like I'm thinking of making a component which is like a nested checkbox. Not only nested, but checkbox is sufficient, I guess. Yeah. So we can do something like this here. And as we are mapping over this, so we also need to add key property here. Otherwise, yeah, we need to also add a key property here. So for that key, what we can do, like we can do node dot id, because we are having unique id for like each and every object. So we can add it here. And inside this checkbox, what we can pass, like we can pass this node basically here. We can pass this node. uh yeah, what I can think, like we also need to pass one more thing, which is like on change method here as well, so that when somebody is checking or unchecking, we can just update the whole tree. So for that, we can pass on change. And inside that, we can see, we can name it as handle change, something like that. Yeah. Okay, this is the basic thing. Now let's write our component. So what we can do, we can here create a small component, which is checkbox. Yeah. And inside this checkbox, we need to return some JSX. uh, let's div closing tag. And inside that closing tag, we can write, we also need to take some things, like we can think, like we need to take node and on change props. So node on change. First, we need to make a checkbox. So input element, inside that input, uh, we need to write the type, which is obviously of checkbox type. And inside that, okay, first I can just make a function handle change. Okay. Okay, we also need some value here. So like as we can see, like we are getting at least three items here. So also, what is their name? We can do node dot name. So we are getting food. Basically, we are having these three objects. First, second, third. Here like food and dairy, and then snacks. Okay. But we need to do one more thing, like which is like displaying the its children as well. So for that, what we can do one thing, which is like checking for the children. If no dot children, if that parent has some children, then we can again recursively call this checkbox. And yeah. And not only this, like we need to map over whole of the thing. So what we need to do, we need to like no dot children. And then if it has, then no dot children dot map. And inside that, we will be having like a child node. Inside that child node, we will be calling this checkbox. So yeah. Okay, so what is the problem here now? Children return. Okay. Yeah, I need to pass that key here, which is child node dot id. And uh, on node which is equal to the child node on change which is equal to the whatever we are having or on change. So now we can see we are displaying all the things here, but we need to do one more thing which we can check. Okay, so they are not looking like they are not looking very much in a hierarchical way. So what we can do, we can just add a little bit of css here. uh, let's give it a class name which is like a checkbox, and here we can say checkbox, and let's give it a padding left of around 20 pixel. So okay, that's nice that we are having like now we are like displaying the data correctly here. So the first step is then that is at least to display the data in a way that we want. So okay, so this thing is done. So now let's move on to like here we can see like when I am clicking on this food that we are now let's focus on adding the functionality as well here. Okay, so now let's focus on adding the functionality to our component as well. Okay, so now let's look at the functionality as well. So for that functionality, we will be like updating. So we'll be updating the things in this handle change here. So okay, so first now let's see what we need to pass on in the handle change method. So we can see that we should first pass the node from this input whenever let's say somebody like check it or uncheck it, then we need to pass the node so that we will be updating its checked state. And yeah, so first just pass it. Mm, let me just structure it a bit. Mm, so what I can see on change, uh, on change I can just pass an event, and in that event I can say on change uh, I need to pass the node, and one more thing which is like whether it is checked or not. So e dot target dot checked. So okay, that's good. So our handle change will be having two things. First is node, and the second thing is like not node, but we can name is a target node, and second thing is checked. So okay, that's nice. So now what we need to do, we can just first make a clone of our original state, this data. We can just clone it so that we will be like further making the updates in the structure of the tree. So first let's do it. So what we can say, const new data equal to the structured clone. Like structured clone, this is a javascript property like which will be like javascript method which will be used to clone the like recursively clone the whole structure of the tree basically, we can say. Or like anything which have multiple levels, it just clones the each and everything. So I am using it here. So in that I will be like passing our data. Okay, so that's good. But now, as we have talked earlier as well, we need to do the DFS now for updating our tree structure. For that, what we can do, we can make a function DFS. In that function, what we can do in that function, we can pass a few things. That those few things include like our we know that our target node, and we will be like passing the our new data in it. So what we can do now, we can like traverse over it. So for the traversal, I can use the for loop. For let node of new data, and then what I can say is that if our node uh, dot id is equal to the our target node dot id, then in that case we need to like first update that, like we need to update that checked property. We will be checking it like checking or unchecking based on our is checked basically variable here. So and then we need to do one more very important thing, that is recursively called is check or uncheck its children as well. So for that we can make another method. Let's say we can just make another method for that, which is like we can make update tree. Inside that we will be passing our node and is checked as well. And in that we will be doing like node dot checked is equal to the is checked, and for each and every node, we can just first write it here, update tree, and in this tree I will be passing the I will passing the node and is checked. Okay, now we also need to update each of its descendant as well. So for that what we can do, we can write node dot children uh, for each children. We will be just naming it as child node, and for each of the child node I want to update it as well, update tree child node, and passing the is checked. So this will be used for updating the descendants there. Okay, so that's good that we have like a first of all loop over the new data for each and every node. We are just looping over it, and if node dot id is equal to the our target id, that particular node that we have checked, then we will be first of all checking or like with basically updating its checked state, and then going forward to its children, and check for each of its children we will be updating its checked variable as well recursively basically. So okay, that's good. Else, let's say else if uh, node dot children. Let's say if we have node dot children, then we will be recursively doing the DFS there as well. DFS, in that we will be passing node dot children. Yeah, that's good. Command as saving it. Okay, so we have written the DFS here. Now just we need to call this function with our new data. And okay, even yeah, calling this function with the new data, and what we can do now, we can just update the update this data, update this data with the new data. So for that update we can use set data with new data. So that is done. So this part is done. Now what we need to do, like we have written the main logic here. So now just we need to like check and uncheck this. So for that we will be like adding one more thing here, which is checked state. And in that checked we will be like first of all we were just wanted to make a variable here is checked, and here is checked, and I can just make this is checked based on a condition basically. So for that condition, what I will do, if let's say if node dot if the like for each and every first we can think if it is having children, then if it's every children is checked, then we will be checking it as well. So for node dot children, if it has children, then for every like using this every method, like which is like a used to get a true or false value for each of its like if based on a particular condition. So what we can pass here is child node, and if child node dot checked is equal to the true. uh, okay, child node dot checked, uh, yeah, child node dot checked is fine here. Yeah, if it is true, then it will be already marking as true. And then otherwise, let's say if some node doesn't have children, then we will be like passing that node dot checked state there. So yeah, that's good. Now we can do the testing. Let's say if I have, yeah, you can see now when I am clicking on the parent fruits, then all of its subchildrens are getting checked. When I am clicking on the food, then all of its subchildrens are also getting checked as well. So that is the one of the major functionality that we have built now. Okay, so now our most of the part is done. Just a small thing is left now, which is like let's say when I click on this apple, then this fruit should also be checked partially. So I just need to update this as well. So for that, what we can do, we can use the useRef effect, which I will attach to this input, and like based on whether like let's say if this is fruits, and I will first check whether apple or banana or some of the children are checked or not. If some of the children are checked, then I will be marking it as partially, basically indeterminate state. Checking this input, updating this input state to the indeterminate basically. So yeah, that I will be doing, and also making sure that not each and every child is checked. So like when both of these childs are checked, then this parent is getting checked here. So yeah, now let's see how we can implement it. So first I can import the use ref. Let's say const input checkbox ref is equal to the use ref. Now what we can do, we can pass that ref here. Ref equals equal to the input checkbox ref. Okay, so I just need to update this value now. So for that, like we will be updating its value inside a use effect. So use effect. Okay. Okay, that's good. We will be updating its value inside the use effect. Why we use why we are using use effect? So that after like rendering the UI, we will be use effect will be run. Basically, whenever our like just give me a minute, I will just make you understand why we are using use effect. So before going there, let's make our let's write the logic for checking whether the state is updated partially or not. So for that, what we can write, const indeterminate indeterminate is indeterminate. Then it will be this checkbox will be in indeterminate state when some of its children are checked and not fully children, not complete children are checked. So for that, what we should have, first of all, we should be having no children's, no dot children. This is the necessary condition here, and then no dot children dot sum. Yeah, like similar to the every keyword, where we will be looking for each and every child node and checking whether it is checked or not. Then it will be cumulatively returning a true value or false value. Even if one value is false, then this whole is checked will be false. And similarly to the sum, if some of the values are true, then it will be true basically. So writing that in callback child node, and here similarly I can also write child node dot checked, even checked. So even if some values are true, then this condition is going to be true. And one more check I need to add, which is that not each and every child should be checked. So node dot children dot every node dot children dot every child node, and uh, child node dot checked. नॉट लगाना भूल गया मैं यहाँ पे. Okay, I just forgot to add a not here. So yeah, this should not happen. So that's wrong. So this will be our indeterminate display. And what I want is that I will be using useRef, because whenever our is indeterminate state will be checking is whenever our indeterminate will be updating. I just wanted to update that useref as well. So is indeterminate, and I will be adding that logic here, like input box check input checkbox ref dot current dot indeterminate indeterminate is equal to the is indeterminate. So that's true. Now let's check it. So now you can see when I am clicking on the apple, this fruit is getting partially checked. When I am clicking on this banana, then this fruits is getting completely checked. So our whole logic, it's working quite fine. Now you can see. So yeah, but currently we can see that there is a one flaw or one bug in our current app. So you can see, like when I am clicking on the fruit, it is working fine. But when I am clicking on the apple, then you can see that the fruit is getting partially checked, but our food is not getting partially checked. So this is the problem. So basically, the problem here is that is checked and is indeterminate. So the thing is that they are only checking at one level deep. So when I like check this, then it is checking for that is indeterminate for that one level deep only, not at the two levels deep. You can see, like when I am like checking the apple, then this food is not getting partially checked. So this is the problem here. So now let's fix it. So how can we fix it? Just we can use the recursion, and we can recursively check using like a DFS approach, recursively check whether this like for this food we have some of its children checked, and or all of its children are checked. So yeah, now let's see how can we do this. So first thing that we need to do, we can just comment it out, and just make a function. Let's make this function as get get node state, and we will pass the node here. And we can first use a check. Let's say if node doesn't have children, if some node doesn't have children, not if some node doesn't have children, then we can return two variables basically in object. So those will be like our all checked, which is similar to like is checked. And then is in for that indeterminate, we need this variable, like whether the all the values are checked, or the some values are checked. So yeah, let's see how can we do it. All checked, and this all checked will be let's say if it doesn't had the children, so it will be like its value only, no dot checked. So whatever the state of that input box at the children level, all checked and some checked. This is also the no dot checked. So yeah, Now, now let's look when it has children. What we can do? We can make two variables like all checked and initialize it with true. So, and then other variable sum checked and initialize it with false. So why we are initializing this all checked with true and some checked with false? So there is a reason. The reason is that we will be traversing at the all children's level. So if even any of the children doesn't have like if any of the children is not checked, then we will be marking the all checked as false. And if any of the child, like for that parent, if any of its child or sub child is marked as true, then then we will be marking some checked as true. That's why we are initially initializing them with opposite variables. So if we get just any one variable as true, then we will be marking some checked as true. And if we will be getting any one like input checkbox as a children which will be false, then we will be marking all checked as false. So okay, now let's write the our DFS logic, or the like use it like traverse the whole children. So for that, what we can do, we can use the for loop. For let child node of node dot children. And we can do one thing which is like getting the state of the children's as well. So const get child node state. Child node state is equal to the our calling that same function again, get node state with our child node. Yeah. And then we can just similarly check it out. If any of the like a child node state dot checked, if any of the child node state dot checked is false, then we will be marking all checked as false. And if uh, any of the child node state dot checked is true, then we will be marking some checked as true. So yeah, that's the logic here. And we can now simply just return it. Return uh, all checked and some checked. And now just we can just call this function here. And also destructure at the same time. Const all checked, some checked. From this our get node state. Get node state and passing the our node here. And now instead of doing this, we can do like this. Just a minute. Okay, instead of doing this, we can do something like const is checked is equal to the all checked. So if it's all the children are checked, then we will be marking it as all checked. And const like indeterminate is indeterminate. For that is indeterminate is equal to the if some are checked, some checked, and not all checked. So this is the correct implementation now. Instead of like checking for the one level, we are now recursively checking for each and every children now. So yeah, we can still see that we are when clicking on this apple, we are not getting this status partially checked. So what could be the cause? Let me just try to debug it. So we are using this node checkbox, returning all checked, some checked, and this looks absolutely correct. Is indeterminate. Some child and not all child are checked. So now let's again look at this logic here. If no children, then we are returning all checked with no dot checked, and some checked is this. And initializing all checked with true and some checked with false. That's correct. And for the child node, we are again just recursively traversing through it. And if child node state dot checked, not checked, but all checked, like if all the values of the child node are checked, then we should do this. And if child node state dot not checked again here, but some checked, if some values are checked there, basically we are returning in the end this thing, all checked and some checked. So if any of these like all checked or the or the sum checked is true, then yeah, we will be just marking it as true here as well. So now let's see. Okay, so we can see that yeah, it is working fine. So now whatever like level LD we go, we it is working absolutely fine here. So yeah, now we can see. Okay, so now this problem is completed with all the works resolved, and yeah, now this is the complete solution for this problem. So yeah, now I hope that you guys enjoyed it, and yeah, happy coding.